Hello and welcome to my Dare to Be Happy podcast. I'm Luisa and I'm coach for happiness and ease at work and for a positive mindset. So today I have actually a guest. So it's a very special episode and I want to say welcome to, a lady I know for about, 27 years and a long time. And she did something really incredible and something what a lot of people might not even dare to do. And that's why I felt like it would be great to hear about her experiences. So what did she do? She worked in a very big multinational organization for a long time and she was pretty successful. And out of a sudden, she decided, I quit. I do something else. And she didn't even know what to do. She found a great place. So in the end, she started to study applied artificial intelligence and digital transformation. So she went back to a life of a student. And so, let's welcome Caro. Welcome to my podcast.
Hi, Luisa.
Hello.
And thanks for having me. I didn't quit, I have to say. But I took the opportunity our CEO gave us earlier this year.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, that was a wrong formulation from my side. But tell us. I mean, you have been more than 18 years with the organization. And what happened? Why did you change your complete life from upside down?
Upside down, it was truly upside down, I have to say. I think that was a slow burn, I have to say. Yeah, a really slow burn over the last 1.5 years. I simply got to a point where I was like, okay, it seems my shelf life here in this environment is coming to an end. Yeah, I really truly believe that each and every professional has a shelf life, so to say. And it's actually a nice anecdote because I did retail concepts. Yeah, I was a project manager for retail concepts, so I even know how to build those shelves, right? From an engineering point of view. And I mean, I'm not the designer, but I was always the translator. So I can say that I know how to build those shelves, but I didn't fit on them anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happened? I mean,
there were many smaller things which basically led me to this inner sort of, guidance that, maybe even a calling, that I have to step out. Because I really did feel that I didn't belong anymore. And when you come to this point, what else would you do, right? You can stay and, arrange yourself with that. But I guess also my business degree would say, okay, this break even has reached point. So the cost of staying would have been higher than the cost of taking the risk I did in leaving.
That's,
You know what
I totally know. So I think maybe just for everyone as well to say this with different words is a little bit like when you have the feeling you can't be yourself anymore, you can't bring your strengths, your gifts to the organization, to the daily work you do, but you suddenly, for some reason, something doesn't fit anymore. Yeah. Sometimes we say it's a match or it's not a match anymore.
Exactly. Luisa, you and me, we are working a little bit similar, I guess, right? We work from heart and with a certain directness. Yeah. And in addition to that, we have an age where we have zero tolerance for bullshit, right?
Probably.
And I have to say, I couldn't take it anymore. Honestly, this is the most honest reason I can name. And then it leads to: do you put on a mask and hide behind this mask and stay because you have that comfortable space? You are an expert. You know what you're doing. You get your salary, you have a certain status. I mean, working for Adidas is, only the name itself has a certain status to it, right? A meaning to it. Or you follow your soul.
But let me just interrupt you for a second because I think what you're saying is super important. It is not easy sometimes because if you are in your comfort zone and you say, hey, why should I change? Because there's certain insecurity, uncertainty outside there, right? Yes. So it is not always easy to follow your heart, your soul, your strength. So I think it's important that everybody understands that following your truth, true belief, strength, etc., doesn't always mean it feels always light and
no, it wasn't.
right?
It wasn't. It was the most scariest thing I ever did in my entire life. It was terrifying.
Yeah,
I was scared because I still don't know where this path is leading me to, right? But I knew I had to take this opportunity, and I call myself really lucky. This was something. I mean, the first quarter of the year, it was the most emotional time period of this year, 2025. But since I knew in 2024 already that I have to change, I was already in some sort of a detachment process, I would say. And I remember that one of my last calls with a dear colleague, I told him that, like, listen, this is my identity, but I want to leave anyway. And handing back the badge, my identity, and then you turn and you walk towards your car and leave, that's, you're stripped away of everything. It's like you go out on the street naked because you leave your identity behind. Because in such an environment, your job is your identity, right? Your title, whatever you have achieved. I was only a senior manager, right? I mean, if you talk about success in such kind of an environment, it's probably for many not so much, right? Because most of them look for status, pay grades, car, number of employees to manage and stuff like that. For me, still, it was a successful career because I had learned a lot. I got a lot of guidance throughout the way. I finished a lot of successful projects. I made a lot of friends. It's like still, for me, super successful, right? But for many out there, maybe not so, right? I don't know. Because everybody defines success in a different way.
Totally.
Yeah. Totally. But for me, it was clear I had to go also to find myself again and to slow down. Really to slow down. I needed that. And yeah.
And what I think is super interesting is, what was the moment, or how did you know that, okay, this is now the right decision? You said there was an offer, right? So an offer to leave or not. So you decided to take that offer.
Exactly.
But
I applied. Yeah.
Exactly. And how did you feel? Because a lot of people take these decisions with the head, right? With the, like, calculating, analyzing, right? And I think that's good. Nevertheless, at the same time, you need to also understand, what is it what I really need as a person? What needs my soul? What does my heart tell me? What does my intuition tell me? So how did you manage to go to that?
I think it was also both ways. Of course, I took all the calculations, right? I flipped every single thought in my mind. I flipped, coin side by side. I turned around every single side, and that was the mind business, right? But the soul and the heart business that followed, and in February, mid of February, I knew I had to leave. There was a moment, yes, indeed, where indeed my heart told me, this is it.
Yeah. So you felt it in your
heart.
I
felt it. Yeah. I this is very personal, but I'm saying it anyway. And it never happened before. I have a watch which is measuring everything, heart rate and stuff like that. And then one day I was it was a Saturday morning. Yeah, I was in bed still, and the alarm went. I did nothing. I did nothing.
The heart alarm.
Yeah, the heart alarm.
And that was the moment.
And that was the moment I knew I had to go. Yeah. And from then on, this was basically a strategy.
And how? Because what we say, or what I say very often in coaching as well, that sometimes we have to close a door before another door or other doors can open. So this is usually very hard to describe and hard to make people to understand, and also to trust in life that this is really what happens. So you basically knew you need to close that door. So your heart told you
100%.
And but you didn't know, as far as I understood, you didn't know at all what's next.
No, I didn't.
So how did that, I mean, you said already, it felt scary,
It
right?
was scary and it was really terrifying. But after a couple of weeks, I truly allowed myself to get out of this uncertainty and to trust myself. Because, I mean, come on, we have lived a life, right? We have struggled. We have struggles behind. I led a lot of complex projects, like business crises, personal crises. And then I reminded really myself that you are going to figure that out. Yeah, you are going to figure that out because so far you figured out everything, right? And there is nothing I would not be able to figure out in my entire life.
So to summarize what you did two things. So first of all, you said, I mean, three things. You said, okay, I know I have to leave, so I close that door. Anyhow, doesn't matter if I know what to do or not. So that was the first thing. The second thing you did, I think you rest, right?
Yeah,
that's what you said earlier. So you had to rest to find yourself, etc., and give yourself a little bit the space as well. And what you did then during that time, what you just said is you reflected as well on the past, right? A little bit on what issues, what projects, what critical situations you already managed. So you try to remind you and remember that it always went out the right way.
That
right?
I have the powerhouse
that you have
inside of myself, right? And the powerhouse will, I don't know, it will open doors and I will find my way. I knew that.
What I always say is life is always for you, and life gives you situations you can and should deal with.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's always for you. But then I'm curious because then you, so you gave yourself the time to rest, right? What happened then? Because now, I mean, you are studying, you're back to study
again.
In the mid-40s.
This is so crazy.
And you are studying something which, I mean, it's applied artificial intelligence and digital transformation. I mean, it doesn't sound easy. So
no, it's not.
Tell us, how is it? How did you come to that? How is it to study again?
I mean, that's a lot of things. Let's see where I can start. So when I rested, different things popped up in my mind, right? Of course, I also looked at all different job descriptions, I didn't apply, I have to say. This was not my intention at this point in time. I just wanted to be and to rest and to see what's going to pop up. And that's what I did. And then I guess one day I sat down and looked at my screen and I don't know what I typed in. I honestly can't remember this point, but it led me to this master degree. And I read through that and I was like, really sounds like me. Because I mean, it's really directed at those people who already have a little bit of experience or who would like to be, project managers in that kind of field and all sort of certain things. I mean, you can do everything with that, right? And also before, I was always sort of listening and reading about artificial intelligence, and I knew that this is going to be a skill which is going to be relevant for the future. And then when you look at my age, and with the background I have to be relevant also still in 20 years, I sort of knew I have to learn something new. And that's, I guess, how this all happened. Because I read through this on the homepage from the university, I guess 100 times. I printed out the Modulhandbuch, so where you can read all the details about what you're going to learn. And I read through that. I called the student services. I talked to the prof, and like one step after another. Because I mean, as you said, we are mid-40s. You are not going to do anything which is not going to be relevant anymore. You have to take a decision which is going to save yourself for the next couple of years. I don't know if I said this right, but I guess you understand what I mean, right?
You don't want to just give it a try and then change again and change again.
You can't. No, you can't. This is not the position I'm in. I have less time than the student which is now in their mid-20s. They can change still if they feel that, it's not fitting. To me, this is something I can't do. I can't allow myself now to, go back and forth and change like another 5 times.
And at the same time, I guess it might be also easier for you, right? To decide, is it the right thing or not? Because you have a certain experience.
Exactly. I have a certain experience. And after all these things I did, I was like, okay, that's a match. Like you said before, I think you said it, right?
Yeah.
That's a match. And so I applied. And by end of July, I believe, I knew that I was going to be a student again.
Nice.
And
so
ever since, I was then in full relax modus, or how do you say that? Relaxation, right? Because I knew, okay, this is going to be my next step. Not knowing what's going to come after, but this is going to be the next thing I'm going to start.
Step by step.
Step by step. Honestly, step by step. And I know that sounds like going back as a career step, because I could have applied to whatever kind of job out there. But I didn't want to. I want to be relevant still also in 20 years. I want to have a purpose. I want to have bring my value to something important. And this is the most important thing of our days.
It's getting more important every day, right?
And since I have that sort of awareness, so I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I know it might sound strange because everybody's hopping on the AI kind of thing. But to me, it's not strange because I have always been more on the technical side. Yeah. In the last, I don't know how many years in retail design, I was always the bridge between the retail designers and the engineering. I translated, the between engineering guys and the designers. My master thesis back in my Diplomarbeit was about RFID, radio frequency identification. So I was always more on the technical side. So it's nothing new. And this is exactly what is going to be needed in the future.
Totally.
People who understand humans, who understand ethics, who understand business need, and who understand the algorithm.
And are able to lead a project.
Yeah, to be honest, meanwhile, I don't want to be a project manager anymore. Let's see what I'm going to do. I really don't know. But yeah, because this is something I really would like to stay open to every sort of door.
And let me ask you something, because I haven't been in a university for years, I have to admit. Oh no, wait, I visited the university just recently, but not to be a student. So I could imagine that it is a interesting feeling as well, right? To go back to study with quite a lot of young people. So how is that? It's
super
also
nice.
something new, right?
I love that. I honestly appreciate every single one of them because it's so nice. I don't know, maybe it's also my background with Adidas, right? So that I know how to talk to younger folks, right? And since I am led by my heart and by my directness, they appreciate that. And so, it's so easy for me to be there. It's mega overwhelming, I have to say, with all the new tools and everything I have to learn from scratch. I'm a beginner. I went from an expert back to being a beginner in most of the classes, not in every class. Of course, we have project management, agile, scrum, leadership, change management, processes, etc. So I'm not a beginner in every field, but I am a beginner in the most important field. And I learn how to use code, Luisa. I never, ever in my entire life imagined that I would ever do that. And I'm honest with you and also with the listeners out there. I was a little bit surprised, when I started in October. And then we went like, we have labs. And I was like, what kind of labs? Yeah, coding. And I was like, what? This is so cool. Oh my God. So, and I'm just like, it's like I even maybe I have a sponge in my mind at the moment.
Yeah.
Like a little kid's sponge, and I suck up everything here, and everything goes into my mind. But I'm at the moment completely overloaded with all the informations. And in January I already have exams. So the first semester is already gone.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Time flies.
So what I've heard is you also said something like that how you are and who you are with your values and everything is appreciated, right? By the community you are in now, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you said. So going back to where you came from, right? Which was not a match anymore. Now, for me, what you're telling me, it feels like it is a match now again, right?
Yeah.
So what I want to bring up here is that sometimes we need to allow ourselves to accept if it's not a match anymore. And to everyone out there, and maybe you can tell us as well some examples, how can you feel, how can you notice that something, it can be a partner, can be a job, can be any kind of friendship or whatever it is, how can we recognize that it's not a match anymore? So, I mean, I know some examples, but maybe you have some examples, especially in this direct comparison, right? There was no match anymore. You took a very radical decision. You had to spend a time off and find yourself again. And now you have again found a match, right? Where you have the feeling you can be who you are and you are appreciated for the strength you naturally bring.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a lot of examples, to be honest. I mean, I guess it's an internal radar. Yeah. You run this constantly. And I mean, if you are self-aware, if you are trained to reflect on yourself, on your behavior, on how you show up, if you have the ability to do that, then I think it's...
So what you're saying is it's a little bit about observing the thoughts, right? Yeah. Observing maybe as well
dynamics,
observing
dynamics, observing
how you feel with dynamics.
How you feel. I mean, how you are treated, right? Does that match or does it not match? It's stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, other examples, maybe a little bit more extreme examples can be if we, for example, don't feel comfortable in situations very frequently, right? If we say things, we don't feel hurt. If we suddenly don't say things anymore, if we start changing our natural behavior, and if it goes very extreme, we might get more sick, right? We might avoid situations, avoid people, so I think these can be signs or signals. And then if you have this reflection practice, then that's a moment where we can start to think, hey, is it
still the right thing
exactly
for me? Yeah, I mean, as we all say, or the saying goes like, love it, change it, or leave it. Yeah. And I was at the last point.
Yeah.
So, and it's a valid kind of thing. Yes. I'm not saying that it was bad. Yeah. I mean, I loved working for the company. I loved working for the team, and I do not have any regrets. Not a single regret. People knew that I was outspoken. Yeah. Maybe bold. Yeah. I don't know. But I know it didn't fit. I would have to wear a mask, and I don't want to wear a mask.
Yes,
I don't
be.
There are
who you
many
are.
people out there who can, but I can't.
Yeah,
I would like to stay true to myself, and then this is the point of no return.
Yes, and honestly speaking, there might be people out there who are able to wear that mask every day. Nevertheless, when we talk about health, right, and emotional health, and that's super important as well for longevity, right? It is important to be true to yourself, to the own values, to how we are, to be able to live up the strength, which you can do now, right?
Yeah, I can fully. It almost feels like, and now I'm speaking universe terms, aligned.
Yes.
I feel like I stepped on a path which is still unknown, but it feels totally aligned.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me free.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me, I don't know. How can I say that? Maybe this is a good example, right? I mean, in younger years, and also, I mean, we have kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
We needed stability. So I basically traded status and stability for knowledge and freedom. Because that's what I have at the moment. I'm gaining knowledge. Knowledge is the currency of the future. Yeah. And that gives me a certain level of freedom and certainty that I am on the right path. Because the knowledge I'm gaining, nobody can strip away from me.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter the outcome of my studies, like what am I going to do in 1.5 years? I don't know this. But nobody can take away that knowledge from me. Yeah. And I'm not doing this only for myself. I'm also doing that because I have 2 kids and I'm a lioness. I want to know how this thing works. I want to know that I am able to explain to my kids, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to come. This is how you can maybe use it to your own advantage. Okay. So, and that feels totally aligned.
Nice.
Because it's a purpose. I have, this is, it's purposeful what I'm doing.
Yeah. It's your own purpose. And that's what we have in teams. Teams need a purpose, but individuals as well. And that's what I felt as well when I, in one moment in time in my career, wanted to change. I wanted to change. I had a great job. I loved the job until that moment, until I felt now it's time for something which has more purpose for me. Right? So it's totally fine and good that this changes over the course of our years,
exactly.
right? We have such a long working time. It is okay that it changes. And when I hear you saying what I really love, what you say, I mean, you don't say it, but you say it. It's really this, the door we said, right? You closed a door and then other doors even opened. But then what you're doing now, so a door opened and you stepped into that and you start walking that way, but you don't know what's the final destination. And I think this is, a lot of people don't dare to do that.
Because it's scary.
It is
damn scary. Not knowing what you're going to do next. How am I going to earn my money? I don't know, Luisa. I do not know that now.
Feel confident.
And I feel 100% confident because I know that there will be tons of doors opening. With the skills that I have on the way, I know that. And I am 100% comfortable and confident that this is going to happen.
It's a little bit like when you, how can I explain that? When you there's a very stable setup of I don't know, of little things in a sea, right? And then you move, so it's very stable, right? It's everything stable, so everything is the same thing. You do always the same, everything. Suddenly you remove something, and there's a little hole, and then the other pieces kind of change accordingly. Maybe it's a little bit like a mobile, right? So the mobile is very stable, but in the moment where you take one thing off, it moves, right? You take another thing off, it moves. But it always adjusts and finds the balance, right?
I think this is also the key against any kind of fear. Movement. You have to move. Take a step, even though if you don't know where it leads you. And this is it works. Because it reduces the fear kind of thing. If you let yourself feel fear, just know movement, taking a step is the first thing you can you enable your mind basically to work against that fear. So
to remove that fear.
Exactly. Maybe it's not, I mean, also here, it's not entirely removed. Of course, because I don't know what's going to happen. Could also not work out. Yeah. Could, but I don't believe in that. I believe in the opposite. I believe in the positive outcome of my journey, because it is my journey and I am the creator of that journey.
And it feels
so it can't go.
Yeah.
It can't go wrong. Because I have now the possibility to change on the way again if I feel not aligned anymore.
Exactly, because you know now that it works out. Then it's a different door which will be open.
Exactly.
Wow, so powerful. So, Caro, after more than 18 years in a big multinational being successful, you are back to being a student.
I am.
In applied artificial intelligence.
With all my heart and directness. Trust me, they already know.
And I'm super happy about how you go that way, and thanks for sharing, right? How you managed, how it's working, about your, let's say, fear, your alignedness, how you found that, and giving people out there. I think there's a lot of people who are in similar situations at the moment, but it is really about when it is in feeling in line. That's the right thing. And what you also said in the end, and this is something I just want to bring up again, is this belief. Mm-hmm. So as soon as you feel in line with what you do and you believe,
gotta believe in it.
Exactly. You believe in it. And then it also has a purpose for you. Yeah. This is the most powerful combination. And I'm so happy that you found that. And I'm
happy to
for sharing in this podcast. And
I'm happy to dare to be myself.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm here for creating happiness and ease at work and studies, let's put it like that. And as well for a positive mindset. And this is basically what you represent. And thank you for being my guest.
Thanks for having me, Luisa. And it was a very, I always love to talk to you. Yes. It was such a pleasant conversation. And let's put it out there.
Maybe we will have more as soon as Caro can tell us more about her studies.
About my studies and how the thing works, how the algorithm works, and how I can modify it, maybe.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody, for listening. If you have the feeling that this Caro's experience can be beneficial for friends of yours or family members or somebody else, I mean, just forward the link to the podcast episode or give us a like, comment. You can also ask questions and I can forward it to Caro, and
happy to be there for them.
Perfect.
Anybody who needs some support. Yeah, exactly.
Some positive.
I can share my heart in directness.
Perfect. So, thank you very much for listening, and all the best from Luisa and
Caro.
Ciao.
Ciao.